Hey everyone, it's Justin here, Voices for Voices. Thank you so much for joining us, whether you're near, whether you're far, whether you're watching, whether you're listening, whether this is your first episode, or if you've been with us from the beginning. We are grateful for your time to spend with us, and we are just really grateful for this whole year and all of you, and want to and say God bless you wherever you are, in the United States or across the world. Thank you for joining us. This episode, we're going to be talking about a little bit about neurodivergency, uh, inclusive workspaces, and inclusive play. I'm going to start off by talking about inclusive play. When we think of uh, when we think of a playground, right? We think of mulch, we think of uh, monkey bars, slides, swings. Some have zip line, uh, just a lot of different ways to play. And for the individuals who aren't neurodivergent, and we'll get in and talk about what that really means, not the Wikipedia definition, just what that means. And so what that means is there are individuals like you and I and others who we we play a little bit different. We need, I use the word accommodation, but I'm not using it lightly. I'm not using it as a crutch. I'm using it as what it really is. And to be neurodivergent, that just means we're a little bit uh we're all human, but there are ways and things that the way we play need a little bit of change and the historical way of play, as I mentioned with the mulch and the swings. It all in the past has come down to the assumption that we're all able to walk, we're all able to maneuver through mulch, right? Uh, that we're able to not get stuck when we're walking through mulch. So if we arrive at the playground and we get out of our vehicle, how are we able to get on? Not how, where's the swing located and what's around it? And if there's mulch around it, someone who is wheelchair bound, it's really hard to, if not, well, it's really hard. I don't want to say it's impossible, but it's really hard. If you're wheelchair bound and you have, let's say, 50 feet, 20 feet, 100 feet, whatever that amount is, to get to that swing, and that's the one thing that you and I want to do, is we, envision ourselves going to the park and riding the swing. Well, if there's mulch there, that becomes a little bit tougher to even make it there because it's not a smooth flat surface that wheelchairs are able to maneuver through easily. Now there's those of us who we don't think twice. We arrive in our vehicle and we walk over through the mulch onto the swing, and then we swing. Or we go up the steps of this that lead us to the slide or slides, and we go down the slide and we have no no issue with that, no problem, no challenge with that. And so when we talk about neurodivergent play areas, we're talking about play areas for all, not just for some. Now, it's become now more evident and more needed than ever. We talk about inclusivity, bringing everybody together, not apart. And part of bringing everybody together is giving each of us an opportunity to play in the same type of way. So if you're not wheelchair bound or if you are wheelchair bound, we all can play in the same space. And so there's a lot of great work being done here in the state of Ohio. There are a couple of, well, I'll just say there's at least one inclusive playground that we know of. And we're not going to call out specifically uh, because we want all spaces, all areas, all playgrounds to be neurodivergent and have that on the minds when planning committees and council members and uh, if that issue comes up on a ballot to vote on, that we understand that not everybody is like myself and have two legs, two functional legs that I'm able to walk through mulch. Uh, Others aren't. And so can become a big topic because, right, we have friends all shapes, sizes, we're all a little bit different. And if we're hanging out and we say to anybody in our class or any of our friends, hey, do you want to go to the playground and play? Well, to all the people who don't have, those challenges of the wheelchair or others, or they're really more immobile than uh, than others, that not only is mulch an issue, but how about the swing itself? Does the swing keep everybody safe? And so these are topics and ideas that, the year right now is 2025. We're going to be in 2026 very shortly. And we should be able to have inclusive playgrounds for all. And I know there's a lot of work being done locally to make that a reality. And so just think about that the next time you're at a playground and you're with children of, oh, if I was in a wheelchair, now wheelchair bound, how would I how would I get to the point where I can ride down a slide? Or how do I get to the point where I'm able to swing on a swing? Or all the other facets and uh, areas of a playground to make them inclusive and uh, neurodivergent. And so I've mentioned that I am neurodivergent. Now there's different things we can mean. We could be neurodivergent. We could be neurodivergent in one way and not others. And so where I am neurodivergent, uh, number one is the mental illnesses with major depression, general anxiety, ADHD, ADD, uh, and then the lower spectrum autism is uh, that I'm impacted more on that continuum on uh, lights, on loud noises, sounds, uh, and so that's where I land on the neurodivergent area. And I'm not just, I talk about lights. It's interesting because people say, "Oh, well, you have to have light to, see where you're going." And yes, that's true. But when you're in an area where if you're able to see, and again, I'm lucky lucky to be able to see, and I have two functional legs and two functional arms and fingers, and I mouth, nose, ears. I am blessed to be uh, who I am and what I have, parts of the body and things. Others aren't. And so we have to think about that. And so getting back to the lights, it's not just the fact like, oh, well, I need a light to see if I'm able to see, or my caregiver is able to see. But for me, it's not just the fact that, oh, lights are on and every light bothers me. That's not the case. It's hard to explain, so I'm not going to get into all the different aspects. The one area that is, I think, overlooked when it relates to lights is the temperature. So, right, there's warm, there's cool, there's just right. And so we try to dress ourselves. So if it's chilly, we want to dress ourselves or have our caregivers dress us in long sleeves and coats and pants and shoes and socks as best as we can. And then the opposite, if it's warm, depending on how warm it is and where we're at, say we're at a beach, then we're going to be at a beach when the weather is warmer. Then we're going to want to be again dressed appropriately, whether we're able to dress ourselves or we have our caregivers that help dress us. And so when we get talk about lights, think about the sun when it's summertime. It's warm outside, warmer than other parts of the year, depending on where you live. Um, and so, right, the sun, if we're able to feel that heat, lights inside can do the same thing. there can be certain types of lights that not only are functional as a way for us to be able to see versus in the dark, but there's also lights that are brighter and warmer than others. And I don't know which ones are which. All I know is from my experience, what I notice myself is there are certain lights, and again, I can't explain which ones they are, and we're not going to badmouth light, light bulb makers, manufacturers. Uh, we would hope that the trend, if it's not already there, would be getting closer to where the lights are only there to kind of project light for us so we can see, our caregivers can see, and not also a heat source. And when you're as sensitive to things as I am and others, trust me, we can tell when a light is not just a light, it's also, I heard somebody say it's a heat source. And so that makes me very, 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 very anxious. My anxiety goes up. I have a hard time spending a large amount of time in areas like that. And that's just me. I'm not speaking for everybody, but that's what makes me neurodivergent. One of the ways that makes me neurodivergent. We talked about if somebody's wheelchair bound, if they're able to see, not see, hear, not hear, taste, not taste, feed themselves, not feed themselves, walk, and as opposed to not being having that having that challenge. And and so that's why I wanted to have this show, and we're gonna do a couple more shows about this. This one is I'd say an all-encompassing one, a big summary to kind of introduce us all to neurodivergent. And these aren't excuses. That's one thing that does bother me. These aren't excuses for us. These are like we all are. We're human beings. We have areas where we're similar. We have areas where we may be a little bit different, and that's okay. We're human beings. We're meant to be different. God made us in his image of what he wants us to be. And so we want to bring this up because it's not just in the outdoor space of playgrounds. That's a big source, especially your children, right? You're growing up, you want to, if you're able to, you want to get out and about and play, and you want to be a kid. You want to play. You want to play with your friends. You want to play safely. You want to say, "Oh, well, I can do this, but sorry, there's mulch here, so I know you're wheelchair bound, so." Gotta go all the way over to the opposite side or to get to the point to be able to ride a swing. And when anybody gets on a swing, is it safe? Is it safe for everybody? Is it designed for everybody? And so those are things that they're coming more and more. to the forefront and we applaud the organizations, we applaud the cities, municipalities, states, provinces, countries uh, that are and have made outdoor play inclusive for everybody who wants to play. And that's just wanting to be a kid. That's all that is. It's just wanting to be a kid. You're a kid, we want to play. We want to play. We don't want to have to think like, oh, well, I can only do this. And or can somebody help me over to this area? We'll do it if we need to. However, if the play area is set up in such a way that no matter what a child or even adult wants to play, that right, maybe you want to swing next to your child, especially especially if there are some of these challenges that the children are faced with. That whole comfortability, that whole being happy that our children are able to play safely, play easily, and that comes down to, things like mulch and barriers. So that's a barrier of entry to the play space of many of our historical play play areas, playgrounds. And so it's important. You know, those of us that are blessed to again have functional feet, legs, arms, eyes, ears, uh, toes, fingers, arms, legs. It it can be less of a challenge than than others. I'm not going to just group people. So it can be easier for some, it can be tougher for others. And so this episode we talk about, as our show is built on the the huge pillar, the foundation of mental health, mental illness, even bringing the neurodivergency, um, inclusivity into that conversation as well. We haven't spent a lot of time specifically on the inclusive play, inclusive spaces, but we're going to. This is like that summary. It's getting us primed because there are uh, many, many, many people, organizations, firms, like architecture firms, that are being asked more and more for inclusive areas, inclusive space, and inclusive rooms, office space, not the movie Office Space, but office space, workspace. And so we're going to get into that in the in future episode. But I wanted to kind of kick this off by sharing that none of this is lost on us as an organization. there's times where we're going to be more focused on one area than the other. Doesn't mean that we've lost and we aren't taking these uh, inclusive neurodivergent topics as much as we have others. But again, there's limited time in a day, limited episodes we can do, we can produce, and so now is a time again that we're gonna kick this off, and we're gonna have an episode or two. They're gonna be follow-ups to this because it is a hot topic. And even if it wasn't a hot topic, there's things that affect me and affect people that I know and organizations have that are inclusive. And some of those, well, some, a lot of individuals need caregivers, need help traveling from this space to the next space to the next space. And then we think about, okay, transportation, wheelchair bound, may need a wheelchair lift vehicle. And so I would think that there would be now versus 20 years ago, there would be a higher demand in vehicles to be able to transport humans, people like you and I, not only to get onto the vehicle, but once you're inside the vehicle, to be safe, that the wheelchair, right, that we're able to keep that locked in position, can be uh, safely on board for the ride wherever that is to. So all across the spectrum, we're gonna be talking about these topics, and we know they're important to you as well. So reach out, let us know what you'd like to see here on future episodes. If you'd like to be a guest, let us know. Yeah, we're just about to 100 countries. I've been saying 80 countries, 90 countries. We're just about to 100 countries and provinces and territories that our show, the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast, is reaching. And so we want to thank each and every one of you, no matter how you're watching, how you're listening, where you're watching from. We're all in this together. We have this big goal of helping 3 billion people at least over the course of my lifetime and beyond. And you just heard me say at least. Uh, I say that because our understanding, our belief is we're on our way to 3 billion people, helping 3 billion people. And so when we say at least, we're not stopping at 3 billion. We're not going to say, oh, we reached that goal, so we're done. No. They say the show must go on. Voices for Voices is going to go on. And we're going to go and go and go and go. And we're going to talk and we're going to reach and we're going to help or help people here in the United States, here locally in our state, across the country, across the world. It makes no difference where you're at and how you watch and how you listen. We're just so happy and glad to have you with us. So until next time, it's Justin here with Voices for Voices, and we want to say let's celebrate all of our voices, no matter no matter how and what way that may be. And until next time, please be a voice for you or somebody in need. Bye bye. We'll see you next time.